So before we call anyone of them, we should just introduce what this is all about. Right? So DOCPLUS is a media platform which is specifically designed for doctors. And what we are trying to achieve here is we try to raise this as a platform which can be used as a platform for awareness creation within the doctors community, as well as with the pharmaceutical companies and the hospital management, from where the basis of the healthcare is moving into the public. So that is what we are intending to do. And IND ASDA Foundation is a foundation which is promoted by the group company. And the intention in which why we are sitting here is because the mental state of affairs for every individual, be it the rich, be it the poor, is in a very pathetic state of condition. And it causes a lot of concern, and the mental health index of the society is very critical for the overall development and the holistic development of the society. And that is where we as doctors is coming across and putting this as a platform on the day of freedom, because the mind is suppressed and oppressed. And if we don't have the courage and the guts and the freedom and the confidence to express ourselves, we will not achieve the confidence to do anything. So we are trying to create awareness through this freedom of expression program, co-curated by DOCPLUS, which is Asia's largest doctors magazine. And I am Matthew Anthony, as the managing editor, is curating this as well as being the moderator for the show with the celebrities as well as with the doctors. Thank you. So with this, I'm calling on the celebrities as well as the doctors to the dance. Yeah. Any media who has got questions to ask?
Questions के लिए आप लोग को mic हम देंगे.
Okay. So, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for coming much in advance of the time. And Kirti needs no introduction, because she's a familiar face with Peng and Hindu Sarkar. And she's also part of the other side of the community because she's done a mass communication and journalism from KG Sumaya.
Please don't tell them that.
And she's been a very active supporter, and she also believes, before the conversation which we had earlier, she is actively supporting this cause of the proactive consideration for mental health and confidence. And it's our privilege to have Katie with us for this event. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So thank you, Krista. You're the first one to come today. And she was also kind enough to come here, and just like Krista also didn't give the introduction much. So, it's Bali Sami, as well as the only academy nominated film from the country. As well as other things. And she is known for her versatile approach to the movie as well as the theatre space, and we look forward for Judy, which is coming up right now. And she has also been really kind enough to express her thoughts and share her thoughts to this cause of freedom of expression for the minds. I welcome her for this event. Thank you. Yes, sir. Any seat of your choice. So, Dr. Avinash, a big man, and doesn't need much of an introduction because he's a familiar face with the media.
and he is a practicing psychiatrist as well as consulting psychiatrist, counselor, and who is a plethora of academic qualifications in the area of mental health. And he has been very much associated with child mental health care with schools and other facilities across the country. He has done more than 475 journals to his credit and authored a lot of books. As well as he runs his own foundation of the Sousa Foundation. So he has also been very kind enough to accept our invite to participate and share his thoughts for this event. Thank you, Dr. Avinash, for coming here and being with us. Thank you, sir, for coming in. And sir, again, no need for introduction because I'll be repeating again if you're all going to have to say introductions for sir also. So I've been a familiar anchor, DJ, and a very active person in this entertainment space. And she's also has a lot of her interest on the social activity area, and she has her concerns, and she addresses a lot of social issues on her own. And she came into the industry as a film artist in 2007, and she has also expressed her willingness to share her thoughts with all others during this event. And we really thank you for coming here. I think it is it.
Jai Hind, everybody. Happy Independence Day.
So Karan has been meeting me there while we were sitting there. He was the first one to wish Happy Independence Day while we were having the conversation. Today also, my apologies. We are sorry to wish you late, but Karan took the first mile advantage. And I remain thankful to Karan because it was a last minute call to him, and he was very kind enough to accept the invite and come. And he's got a lot of fans around. So he's to represent the men's side amongst the female celebrities, on the particular cause of mental health care. Thank you and welcome, Karan. Thank you. And Dr. Kirsi Chawda, the final one to come into the panel. And Kirsi Chawda needs no introduction because he is the past president of the Psychiatric Association of Mumbai chapter. And he is also the chairman of the ethical committee on discussing the ethical distance between the patients and the psychiatrists on the mental health care space. And we are old friends also, as well as, and I have consulted him personally while we were doing this course. It's a privilege for us to have Dr. Kirsi Chawda. And welcome, Dr. Kirsi.
Excuse me.
So now we have the complete panel. So it is going to be an interactive discussion amongst both sides, the celebrity side as well as the doctors on the particular cause of mental health care. The reason why we are saying, and we thought as DOCPLUS Foundation and as an IND ASDA Foundation to do this is because we see the mental health ignored by and large, and is also a fastest growing disease because it is not showing any cut, wound or anything which is tangible. It is not being recognized as a disease earlier, but now we see the most recognized form of mental health issue which is recognized by the society is called is under the name of depression. But the causes which causes depression and the other sides of it, the effects of it in form of suicides, in terms of aggressive behavior, in terms of loneliness, in terms of leading a very pathetic life, is all because that the mind inside the human being is unable to express itself in any format. You can go to a gym, get your muscles done. You can go to a good dietitian and get your food done, and you can add on the weight. But your mind doesn't work on any of these things. The mind works on reassurance and confidence. It gains strength only with reassurance and confidence from people from whom people believe that what they say is true. So that is the reason why we have the celebrities. The reason is because celebrities has got a lot of influence over the society. Because a lot of independent thinking is not happening at various levels of the society. So when the celebrities speak from their perspective, not as themselves, but from the perspective of the subject, it will be received well. We have doctors because when the topics which is discussed by the celebrities on your own, which is authenticated by the doctors from their perspective on that particular subject, it has got the science merging with the practical life aspect, which is received, or we are trying to get this received well by the recipients, which is the general population. What we are trying to achieve here is also to address mental health issues at the pre-stage of people going into a mental health issue, the stage in which people are in a mental health situation, in form of depression or anything, and the post-traumatic stage, on how they recover. If at all our awareness building can help people to come out and express themselves, that is the beginning of helping them to understand themselves better and to stay away from a particular issue of a mental health issue. So this is what we are trying to achieve. So if you really look into it, how we can get connected into this conversation to get started with this, we have seen a couple of incidents in the last couple of weeks, which is the Blue Whale application which is being downloaded. And we have seen the Gorakhpur child massacre which has happened. 70 kids have died. Just because they are poor, there are 140 parents, there are 280 grandparents and their family. They all are going through a mental trauma. Nobody knows how to express this. They have lost someone, but the fear of expressing themselves out can lead to a traumatic life for these people for their entire life. And nobody is even thinking of addressing that rather than addressing to put the things under a back burner or to relieve themselves from the responsibility which has caused that. So there are burning issues in the society. There are rich people who have got everything with them, celebrities who have got everything with them, but then they feel that they don't have anything also. They live a life of loneliness. They feel they're deprived of something. The mind lacks courage. So this is where we are getting started. So from anybody who can get the conversation started from here. So the panelists are open. Whomsoever is willing to take the call to get started with. We'll start with Kirti. Yeah, we have mics there. Yeah, these are.
So my colleagues are out. Kirti.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Firstly, thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you, Subarna. Thank you, Divya, who's not here. And thank you, all my co-panelists, for being together on this. It is surely an issue that I really believe in, and that's the sole reason that I'm here today. I think Matthew just mentioned that depression, to begin with, depression is a very tangible thing. It's a very, very real thing. So I know that people who go through depression, firstly, there's so much going on in terms of depression. And I think, if I'm not wrong, the symptoms are so general, I would say. I think, am I right on this? Like, in terms of mood swings or feeling low or being moody or lack of confidence or a lot of negativity. I mean, I think people experiencing these symptoms firstly are not aware that this could be just something more than normal mood swings or something like that. On top of that, people around these patients, sometimes see it as seeking attention-seeking behavior, or just being moody. So I think first people need to be made aware of the fact that depression is an increasing mental disorder that a lot of people in the world are facing today, and it is not limited to any class, any age group, any life circumstances. You could be anybody. You could have any sort of experiences, and you could still experience depression at some point or the other in life. Also, I think the problem is the attitude that we have as a community towards mental disorders specifically. I mean, today, if I have a cold, if I'm not able to control it, I can very much go to a doctor, and everybody would be like, yeah, that's the way to do it. But today, if I have something, if I have an issue, a mental issue or an emotional issue that I am not capable of handling, and I decide to go and seek help for it, I'm sure there'll be a lot of eyebrows just raised, because I'm going ahead and taking a step like this. Especially, I mean, I'm sure the media, there is a side to media which is present here and which is supporting this cause, but there's also another side to media which will be the first ones to put it in headlines saying so and so visited a psychiatrist, or so and so has a mental problem, or so and so is mad, if they really want to seek a lot of attention. So I think this is the stigma that's really attached to mental disorders, and this is the attitude we as people need to change. Being in an industry which is the glamour industry, so to say, we are all creative people, and I think as creative people, it's anyway a big task to keep your space, to keep your mental, emotional space sane, and really come up with something on a daily basis that excites you, that the audiences want to see on screen. On top of that, there is an additional pressure of just looking pretty, of looking perfect all the time. And I mean, sometimes people tend to forget that before anything else, we are humans. We are actors, that's our profession. But we are humans. And we, like anybody else out there, have similar problems. And our problems are enhanced, are they become multifold by the mere pressure of how people perceive us, how people want to see us, and we are really, to put it honestly, we are more prone to having these breakdowns than other people around because of the pressures around. And then on top of that, if we do not go out there and, because we are also like today, if I'm shooting for a film, and if I have a breakdown, physical, mental or emotional, and for some reasons I'm not able to come on the set, there are a lot of people waiting out there for me. There's a lot of money at stake, So it's actually my responsibility as an actor to really take care of myself. And I'm sorry, but however people look at it, I will be selfish when it comes to my health. I will do whatever needs to be done to just remain healthy, for my sake, for my industry's sake, for the people who depend on me every day. Also, celebrities, of course, go through a lot of pressure, but I would also like to mention the kids. I think the celebrity kids, that's how we like to call them. I mean, they have the only thing that they have to do with the industry is that their parents are from the industry. And especially the teenagers, I mean, you see so many kids around who, teenage I think is a phase in life which I don't think anybody can prepare you for. Your parents can't prepare you for it, your teachers can't. And I think you just have to take it for what it is. And considering the way the social media is, considering how much everyone depends on a kind of assurance from the outside these days to feel good about themselves or feel right about themselves, it is a lot of pressure on the kids as well. And I think so. All I'm trying to say is that considering the amount of pressures we are all dealing with on a day-to-day basis, it becomes even more necessary, more than ever, that today we have the awareness, as I said. The second thing, most important, is acceptance. To accept that there is something that is wrong with me. It is not the end of the world, but yes, there is something that needs my attention, and I will go out there and seek whoever's help I need to get this sorted. And I think thirdly, as a community, we need to create an atmosphere, create an environment where everyone feels safe, everyone feels loved, cared for, and most importantly, empowered, to really empower themselves. I think it's a responsibility that we all need to take for ourselves and for everyone around us. Thank you.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of medical perspective. To begin with, if you're looking at a population of say about 1 billion Indians, and we're just looking at the Indian population, we're looking at anything between 20 and 30% of them who are going to have one episode of depression for which they are going to need help. In this room, 20 to 30% of us would have had experiences severe enough to actually have been classified as having a depressive episode. The unfortunate part of this is that most of you will not actually seek help. And if you're looking at 1 billion Indians, and we're looking at about 20% of that, you can imagine that that's a huge population. When I was a medical student, we were told that the commonest age that depression started was around age 17. Today, Avinash and I are diagnosing depression as young as 7 and 8 and 9 years old. So it's a terrible indictment of what's happening in our society. Why does depression happen? Nobody really knows. But we do know that there's a whole bunch of things that might be causing it. There's certainly a genetic factor. If somebody in the family has had depression, then the chances that the child would have it goes up exponentially. There are neurotransmitter imbalances. There is something called neuroplasticity of the brain which causes issues. There may be actual structural changes in the brain. When we do PET scans and fMRIs, we find certain parts of the brain are functioning differently in a person who is prone to have a depressive episode. All of these things point to the fact that it is a disorder. The guy is not doing it on purpose. He's not behaving in a particular way because he doesn't like your face. He's doing it because he has a problem. Just like if you were asthmatic and you had a breathlessness attack, you'd hope that people around you wouldn't say, oh, snap out of it, stop breathing so heavily. Just like that, we would expect that if somebody was depressed and sad, not reacting well, and very gloomy and not interacting, or at the other extreme being very aggressive, because occasionally aggression can just be a symptom of depression. We hope that people around them would take them seriously and not say something like, oh, he or she is like that, don't pay attention to her. That doesn't really make sense. Amongst kids, sometimes the only symptom we see is somatization, which means the kid will complain of a chest ache, a stomach ache, a headache, doesn't want to go to school, and you say there's something wrong in school, and things like that. Go through all the investigations, through all the other disciplines of medicine, and then finally some sensible physician will say,
looks like he's stressed out, looks like he may be depressed, go see a psychiatrist. It's essential for all of us to accept that this is a problem, because we're talking about 20 to 30% of the population. And one of the biggest fears associated with depression is suicide. But suicide is not the only thing. You have addictions. You have a person who's not in a position to do as well as he could have to actualize his own potential just because he's so depressed. He can't think cognitively. You have relationships getting affected because one person is so depressed and the spouse just cannot cope with the mood. You have kids who get affected because one or the other parent is so badly, he has such a bad mood that the kid starts wondering what on earth is happening. You have an increase, like I said, of addictions. You have people who just lie in bed the whole day, not wanting to do anything, getting very frightened and scared of doing stuff which they could have had no problems whatsoever in doing. And what is our reaction to that? He's acting like an ass. That's not how we should be looking at this. Women, being in a patriarchal society like India, women actually get the short end of the stick. And especially if you're in the limelight, like these ladies are, or the gentleman is, obviously it becomes a bigger problem. But let me say it affects just about every profession. We have doctors who are depressed. A lot of consultants, I'm attached to 3 hospitals, a lot of consultants come up to us and talk about the problems that they're facing. We have lawyers and judges who are responsible for judgments who are on medication. We have top industrialists who come up to us and have issues. And like I was telling them some time ago, we have an industrialist who comes up to me and he's absolutely stable, but he says, Doc, can you just imagine if I went out in public and said I was depressed? The shares in my company would drop because they'd say, how can a guy who's depressed run this company? Our attitude has to change. Like she said quite correctly, if I have a cold, it's no big deal. But if I tell somebody I'm going to see Dr. Chanda, oh my God, it becomes an issue. Our perspectives have to change into just accepting it like something else, which will certainly come under control, which has to come under control. And the moot point is, the earlier it's caught, the earlier it's diagnosed, the better the chances are of a complete recovery. I am thrilled to bits that in this year, after so many years of independence, we've got DOCPLUS, we've got Shuparna, we've got Matthew, who's a very dear friend in addition to being something. I must have done something good. He's a good chap now. I'm so glad that we've taken up this thing because I think as a society matures, as a society becomes more philosophical, we've got to look at other aspects, not only food, clothing and shelter. We've got to look at how we can actualize our potential. We talk about India being a potential superpower. Well, it's not going to be a potential superpower if mental issues are not addressed. I think it is absolutely essential for the media, which by and large is extremely supportive to issues associated with mental health, provided they don't sensationalize it, to focus on stuff which is going to affect 1/5 of our population.
Krishna, we would like to hear from you on what is your take on the whole subject.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you all for taking the time out to be here today with this very important topic that we must all really discuss freely and without any reservation. In the age of Facebook, it's extremely depressing to live in this age because everyone puts their best pictures up. I've been holidaying in Maldives or Mauritius or somewhere. I've bought a new car, I've done this, I've done the other, and then your life seems so pale in comparison. And it seems like nothing is happening. I just go to office and come back. I take the train or the bus and I meet that horrid boss of mine when I come back. And so goes my day, and I've got so many issues. Hardly anyone posts anything on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook about what problems they're going through. The rare, brave soul does that. And in this age of out-blinging each other, everything from your nails to your eyelashes have bling on them. Somehow I think there's a kind of covering of what happens on the inside. How there's a kind of loneliness that happens. You could have 2,000 friends on Facebook, but maybe not even one real person to talk to when you're in trouble. And I think that's somewhere the disconnect. Earlier there were these warm, highly dysfunctional, but very, very functioning in one way joint families. There was always the dada, the dadi, the chacha, the cousin to talk to take your troubles to, and somebody would come along and snap you out of whatever you were going through. I'm sure I'm not talking about like really deep chemical imbalances and stuff like that. I'm talking about there's a natural passage to grief, or if you lost your job, you will be sad, and that sadness must be allowed. You cannot suddenly start being happy or go to the bar and have 3 drinks and expect that sadness of losing that job will no longer affect you. It will affect you because your money is not coming. So I think there's a natural, easier pace to life. So suddenly, but human beings, I think psychologically, we've not transformed that much, have we, doctor? We still continue to be hardwired in pretty much the same way that we were earlier. So we don't give ourselves that time to come out of things. It's like, कल आपके साथ कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुई है तो आज ही आपको ठीक हो जाना चाहिए. कैसे हो जाए? I don't think it's going to happen. That natural process, if you had a breakup, if you had something that you were really hoping for, and it didn't happen, it will take you a few days, maybe a few months to come out of it. And that pace of life today, the disconnectedness amongst people doesn't allow for that. And I think that the good doctors who are on this panel, and Shubharna and Matthew have sort of taken this initiative to talk about this, that there needs to be, if there isn't a friend, there should at least be a doctor that you can go to and talk to and get help. Because I myself have dealt with, in a career spanning about 20 years, my parents were not expecting me to become an actor. They thought it was a very dumb thing to do at that point. But I really wanted to become an actor. And when my first film flopped, it was extremely depressing. It was a very, very, very bad phase because it was such a public humiliation. And I was always a topper in my school and college, and nobody expected that I would not do well at this as well. But I had no training, nothing. I just came into it like jumping into the deep end. And my parents were dealing with their own idea of, oh, we should have told her not to do it, we should have been stronger with her. So they were dealing with their own stuff, and I was left to deal with my own stuff, and I was living alone in Bombay. And I remember not wanting to come back to an empty flat, which I was living in at that point. And I think of the hundreds and thousands of young boys and girls, as young as 7 or 8, as you're saying now. My heart goes out to them because, it's a large number of people. And as Kirti and Dr. Chandra pointed out, that there's there's an expectation to snap out of it. क्या हो रहा है आपको? इतना क्यों लंबा मुंह बना के बैठे हो? Kind of reaction to the whole thing. So luckily over a period of time I sought help and I was able to bounce back quite well. But there are lots of people who are not so lucky, and the downward spiral, I think once it starts, it's very hard to stop it spinning downward. Very wonderful that we're having this discussion and opening up the topic, because the more people that talk about it, discuss it, and not fear it. Because if I'm not wrong, because I was doing some research on my own, every person at some point or the other will go through a depressive phase in their life.
Well, you may go through a depressive phase, but it may not be severe enough to be called a depressive disorder.
But there would be people who, for example, the death of a parent or losing a job, if they have the right stimuli, like you mentioned, if a parent has, the chances go up exponentially. So all of those things, if the right triggers are there in that person or the wrong triggers are there, then that person would go into a phase.
Yeah. So we normally talk about multifactorial reasons. It's very unlikely that one thing is going to trigger off a problem. you probably have to be very tired at that time, you have a genetic component, something else has happened, you haven't eaten properly, you see an accident, somebody has screamed at you. And a combination of all of these events probably would tip you over the edge in a sense. So not everybody is depressed. Everybody would have signs and symptoms of depression. Everybody might have depressive traits. But to be called a depressive disorder is a slightly more accentuated form of whatever you're experiencing.
But when somebody is going through a depressive phase in their life, say there has been some active trigger or triggers, then that person may or may not be able to bounce back by themselves.
Absolutely. In fact, even in the depression spectrum, there are a whole bunch of things like what we call depressive disorder, we call a bereavement reaction, which is what you're talking about. There's something that we find in kids called disruptive dysregulation disorder. So there are a whole bunch of subsets even of this whole spectrum of depression. But I think it's probably the extent of the reaction which would make us as doctors say that you have this disorder and we need to deal with it. It's like every restless kid may not be called hyperactive attention deficit disorder. So just like that, we have gradations of the symptoms that you're talking about. But you're quite correct in that sometimes it's extremely difficult, even for people who have not really been diagnosed as having the disorder, to be able to bounce back. This bouncing back thing is something that we need to get out of.
Also, I think it would be greatly helped if people did immediately start calling these people, or people go through this as mad, ya pagal ho gaye, hil gaye, all those kind of reactions. If that sort of stops, then I think people will be far more comfortable and confident to come out and actually let some sunshine and air into that area of their lives.
I would absolutely agree with you. Unfortunately, the trend is changing. So Pagalpan has now become Dimag ka doctor, which sounds a little better.
The personal experiences which you have had when you say that.
Just to add to that, I think most actors, because of the nature of the highs, would have just talking about physics. If there is something that goes that high, it's bound to go that low as well. So I think would if you talk to them privately, whether they admit it or not, they would have had phases of what the doctor would call classic. What do you call it?
Depressive.
Not phase. What would you call it? Like actually depressive? Clinically. They would require it. Okay, let's put it this way. They would require intervention.
Okay. And thanks to Kirti also, because she was also very open about talking about the pressures of being industry of entertainment, where you have to look beautiful, end of the day, whatever.
We are also really responsible. Like
Yes.
we should be like, screw it. I'm gonna just wake up and just go like that. This is who I am. I don't want to get dressed up.
That's true. Thank you. And Sarah, what's your take on now? We've developed this conversation to this level.
So I was a good student and I came prepared for the speech, and I will have taken all my points.
You should have gone first.
But I will read anyway. No, firstly, thank you, Shubharna especially, because Shubharna called me very enthusiastically last Sunday when I was in a noisy car with friends. But I heard a few words and she had my interest immediately, because I remember thinking it's so nice that someone's finally taking the initiative to put together a panel like this and have these kinds of discussions. So I'm going to read something that I wrote from personal experience, because it's how I express the best. So bear with me. 71 years ago, a visionary man said, "I want freedom for the full expression of my personality." That man was Mahatma Gandhi. So happy to meet you. I want freedom for the full expression of my personality. I thought this was a really interesting desire because it made me wonder, do we actually fully and freely express the various facets of our personalities? I don't think we do. And I'll draw you a picture. So it's a typical Indian household. A boy comes home triumphantly and announces. He says to his parents that he's gotten into a university of their dreams, of course. And the father says, "Shabash beta, dekho mujh pe gaya."
right? And the mother says, no, don't be ridiculous, he gets his brains from my side of the family. And mithai mandao, and everyone is celebrating. And let me draw you another picture. Typical Indian household, boy comes home and says to his dad, Mom, Dad, I don't feel like getting out of bed on most mornings. On most mornings I have dull headaches, my heart is racing, I think I'm anxious. The father says, nonsense, these are all your generation problems. We never had these problems when we were young. The mother will say, Beta, why don't you go out and, go for a drink with your friends, it'll be a good distraction. You can't distract your way out of anxiety. At least not for too long. And this is the reality of the society that we live in. I think it's because in the common Indian household, the belief is that if you don't talk about something for long enough, and if you ignore it, it will simply disappear. Well, I'm here to tell you, and there are plenty of statistics available to prove to you that it won't. Everyone in this room knows at least one person who is suffering silently from some kind of mental illness. Silently being the key word. Depression and anxiety are real, and they are spreading just like any other virus does, and they are claiming lives and minds by the second. And I can tell you this with added confidence because I myself have battled both, and I have found my freedom from them. I can tell you it was not an easy road. And it is also heartbreaking to admit that I have lost a couple of friends to them along the way. So why do people suffer in silence? It's because they are conditioned to believe that if they confess to their depression, anxiety, and feelings of insecurity or doubt, that they will be judged, that they will be shamed, that they will be told, especially boys, man up, brush it off, get a life. Because if you say that, God forbid if you say, and God forbid if you have it, I have cancer, people will take you seriously. But if you tell someone that you are depressed, I don't think they'll take you that seriously. Even though studies have repeatedly proven that prolonged and ignored mental illness can and will cause serious damage to the physical body. I had the blessings and good fortune to be surrounded by supportive friends and family who supported me in my need to express my troubled feelings and seek the necessary help from counselors and psychotherapists. And I still work very hard to express myself as truthfully as possible in a safe environment. And I believe it's important to use that word, in a safe environment, because sometimes I believe that half of the healing happens when you find a safe place that is judgment-free to just express yourself. Now imagine if we could provide that to our friends and our family in the very comfort of their own homes. Yes, of course, there are matters in which we are ill-equipped to help, which is why we have professionals like the one sitting on the panel today to help our friends and family out. And I also must admit it is a bit unnerving to admit these kind of things in front of doctors who can see right through you. I think it requires more strength to admit to one's weaknesses than to wear a mask of pretentious normality. I mean, ask me, I'm an actor. We do a great job of wearing that mask. But I can tell you, again from personal experience, that it was one of the most liberating experiences to take that mask off in that safe environment and receive the right kind of guidance and the tools that helped me deal with my anxiety and my depression. And I'd like to end with this. We tell our youth that if you put your mind to anything, you can achieve it. Don't you think then that it is our responsibility to make sure that their minds are healthy? Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's nice to see that their thoughts captured and summarized in an organized format. So, while we were debating this, putting up this panel within our organization, we had this debate of whether asking the celebrities to share their own experience. So we ourselves
took a safe post. That why should we put a difficult question to them, because they have the pressure of being exposed to the media. But I'm very happy to see the courage in all the three beautiful ladies to express themselves in a confident manner, that they too have had their tough times. Well, I'll come to you, Karan. But I would like to see Dr. Avinash's view on how this is and how we can tackle this, because the fear of being tabooed or the fear of being tagged as a mental patient is what is stopping people from expressing this. So I'd like to get your view on that.
I have always believed that psychiatrists have to go to people, because the stigma of visiting a psychiatrist is always there. So in my work, I always try to go to schools, colleges, meet people, talk to people. A very simple question that I always pose is, after the age of 25 or 30, people get a yearly health checkup done wherever they work. How many people ever think of getting a yearly mental health checkup done? I am still waiting for a day when I have people who walk into my clinic or my consulting room, just as you would walk into your family physician's clinic and say, I've just come in for my regular health checkup. I would like people to come in and say, you've just come in for a regular mental health checkup. I don't have a problem. I just want to know whether I have some issues that need to be dealt with. But that day probably will come. And with initiatives like these taken up by Shubharna, Matthew, Divya, who's not with us, and DOCPLUS, it will definitely come. One of the key things why we see so much of depression today is a breakdown in human communication. What has happened is that we are totally onto various media platforms. We're onto a whole bunch of friends online, which help us, no doubt. I'm not saying that social media is bad at all. It's a very good medium for work, it's a very good medium for support, it's a very good medium to know what all that the world around us is doing. But what happens is the close nucleus, that is our family. Family communication is broken down. I remember when I was 13 or 14 years old, at 10 in the night, we had a lady who would come on the television and say, "Ki aaj ka karyakram samapt hua." So we didn't have anything to do after 10 o'clock. So we would sit as a family and discuss that we met this uncle, we met this auntie today, teacher said this, today this happened. Today, unfortunately, at 10:30 in the night, every member of the family is sitting with one gadget on their own, in their own world. And families communicate more on a WhatsApp group than personally. That's what usually happens. Families say we have family WhatsApp group, that's where communication happens rather than personally. Why I'm saying this is because we spoke about depression, we spoke about suicide, we spoke about things like blue whale and a lot of things which led to suicide. I don't think we can put a finger and point and say blue whale or a game or Facebook led to suicide or depression. Depression happened because these were people who didn't have anyone to speak. This year's World Health Organization's theme for the year is Depression, Let's Talk. And these people did not have anyone to speak to. They didn't have the children who suffered, who undergo depression and children who attempt suicide. They do not undergo that because of their friends online. They do not undergo that because of a game. That's one of the factors. But they undergo that because they don't have parents and teachers and people around them who are vigilant to detect that they need help. And a bigger problem than depression is a denial of depression. I've had the most educated people come to me with their children and their teenagers and say, he's just going through a bad phase, doctor. He doesn't have depression. Just help him, bounce back. It's normal. And the key thing to understand is if you do have depression, it's not normal. It needs help. Someone may need therapy, someone may need support, someone may need medical help. But the key factor is shying away from that help. And the myths that are prevalent. One of the key myths is, oh, he's speaking about suicide, so he won't attempt. A lot of people convey suicidal intent prior to attempting. And a lot of people feel like, jisko karna hai, he will jump and he will do it. He won't tell people. No, that's not the thing. The moment you see a warning sign, seek help. I have a person who stays in the neighboring building. And he phoned me. He said, doctor, I'm your neighbor and I have met him because we've had functions in our lane. I said, yes, of course I know. Do you have any clinic other than your clinic in your building? So I said, unfortunately, I can't afford. I have only one clinic. So he said, no, because I want to meet you somewhere else than your clinic, which is in the next building. So if you have a clinic in South Bombay, I'll come there, or Chembur, I'll come there. Because I don't want people in the lane to feel that I'm going to a psychiatrist. So I said, you can always say you come to meet me for tea or coffee. So he says, no, but the moment I enter your house, people around would, start thinking that, I've come to a psychiatrist. And psychiatrist, unfortunately, at one stage equals Pagloka doctor. Now that is changing. So he doesn't want that. Imagine if an educated science postgraduate staying in the next door building who knows me already personally refuses to meet me for this problem. Imagine someone who doesn't know me. And the key thing here is we have to get rid of this denial of depression. There are a lot of myths related to taking medical help, where they feel, oh, medical help is bad, the drugs are bad. And one of the reasons for this is Dr. Google. Yes, if you have a headache and you Google yourself, you go from brain tumor to death in 4 searches. So that's what usually happens. But the thing is, Dr. Google causes a lot of this. And we need to empower everyone. One of the key things which I would want as an outcome from our panel here is that the moment you find someone who's depressed, the moment you find someone who's suicidal, the moment you find someone who needs help, first sit down and talk to him. Just as a friend. And 2, convince him to seek help. It's only when we bring back human communication that a lot of our problems will go off. And India will be the India that we want. Thank you.
That was a very powerful communication. Let's talk. That's what World Health Organization has communicated. Now, I'm coming to the last panelist here. Karan was enrolled a lot of women through his serials and other things, as well as his dance and what is your take on the whole conversation? Because we've seen the women's side of celebrity speaking about the depression and the mental side of it. What is your take on it?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, especially Matthew, for keeping me last in line to talk, because this is my biggest point of stress as of right now. But, I've been called here to speak about what stress means. I'm going to try very hard to explain stress to you guys, what it means to me in the next 7 minutes. Now, what I've done successfully is that I've actually put my mind under enough pressure, because I've said I'm going to try very hard to think about how I'm going to explain stress to you guys in the next 7 minutes. So what I've done is I've put myself under pressure, that I'm going to make an impression, because I have to make some sense. We're sitting with a panel of doctors. And B, I've given it a time limit of 7 minutes by further on adding pressure to my mind. But this is what I do. This is my basic problem. I'm a thinker by nature. I overthink everything. And I feel somewhere, because I was never interested in studying in school, is why I'm trying to overcompensate today. But fortunately, I read on to some books early on in my life, some very basic theories, 2 books that really aided my state of mind. One was Power of Now, and the second one was Tipping Point. Now, what both of these talk about is, the Power of Now speaks about being in the moment, living this moment, and Tipping Point primarily speaks about listening to your instinct. And I genuinely believe that that in times of today we've stopped enjoying right now. We've stopped enjoying this moment. And why I'm speaking about these two problems specifically is because these are my problems. This is what I face on a daily basis. That I don't enjoy the moment. I don't enjoy this moment. I don't relish it at all. Instead, I'm constantly planning. I'm always planning. I'm trying to move ahead. And that's what I've been really trying to do. I've made a conscious effort to take a step back, relish this moment, enjoy all the juices, and then with that drive, go out there and plan my next step. Now the second one, instinct, what we were talking about earlier. I know it's a very immature, premature sort of approach to stress and depression, but I genuinely believe that there's a space somewhere between our heart and our mind which we've triggered that answers back to us, that guides us in a fraction of a second, and it's high time that we start listening to it. So I've been making that effort. I've been trying to listen to my instinct to guide me further. And I genuinely believe that these two things we should not ignore. Having said that, I really feel that I'm probably not the most educated, definitely not the most educated to speak about stress. I probably am the youngest or one of the youngest in this room to speak about this. And I'm definitely not the most experienced in life, but that's what I feel. You don't need to be into these things. I don't need to be of a certain age to speak about stress. I don't need to be of a certain sex to speak about stress, because stress doesn't have a demographic. And that's the unfortunate part, that every time, and I have faced this personally, that I've spoken about stress that I've always been brushed off by saying, come on, you're young, get over it. It's life, shit happens, move on. And the best one that you get as a man, genuinely, is be a man. It's as simple as that. The only advice that I've gotten in 30 years of my life when I've been down and out is be a man. So that basically means that as a man, you're not allowed to feel emotions per se. But the funny part is, I am already overthinking things. I have things that are bothering me. I definitely know I am a man, but I need someone that can hear me out. And that's what I find very unfortunate. I'm glad that we're all here today just to address this. So some things might sound repetitive, but I'm glad that they do, because that's exactly what we're trying to address here. I'm an actor by profession, and definitely man has much more experience than me. But we all face very challenging jobs, and I'm sure doctors do as well. But we're always on the go, 18 to 20-hour days, not getting our scripts on time, having performance pressure. Like Kirti said, constantly the need to look good. Being a man, going without water, parched for 2 days because you're meant to show off those six-pack abs. To being on a forum like this between doctors and all of you guys speaking about something that I'm not qualified to my personal life, which is constantly under the speculation, it's under the radar. All of these things have such a high stress level, and I feel like there's a point of saturation that we all get to. And I've seen some of my very close friends, like Dr. was saying, that resort to drugs and that get into chronic depression. But how do I cope with it? Well, what I do is very basic, and which is talk. That's what I do. I talk. I know it's not simple, but because it's not easy to go out there and express yourself, especially go out there naked with your emotions. And believe me, especially being a man, is so hard to go out there saying that you're hurting about something emotionally. Because when I was growing up, I was always taught boys don't cry. You're not meant to cry as a guy. But fortunately, one thing that I learned while I was growing up, that so that's what I do. That's what I do to cope with it. And fortunately, I have a very close-knit relationship with my family, and we have a very open forum at home where we address issues, and not only my issues because I'm young and my parents can advise me, but even my parents' issues. My parents speak to me about their interpersonal relationships. It could be things related to finances of the house, extended family issues, anything under the roof. And we all sit there post 10:30, once the TVs are down, and we advise to our best capability without being judgmental. And I genuinely believe that that is such a beginning point, just communicating and addressing things that are bothering you. because that's what leads eventually to bottling things up and chronic depression, like everybody's been talking about. And I feel like it's important to have somebody in your life. It could be family, that's what works for me. It could be a close relationship, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, husband, wife. It could be a mentor, it could be anybody, but just opening that line of communication is very important. And believe me, if all of this did not work for me, I, being a man, being from a profession of public speculation, would definitely go out there and seek medical advice if it doesn't help. And yeah, I think I did pretty okay, right? And you don't have to pull your ear. And I think that was a good less than 7 minutes. What I'm going to do is, instead of talking, I'm going to look at all you guys. There's an esteemed panel of speakers, doctors, the media. And I'm going to relish this moment right now that I'm in. I'm going to enjoy it. Because I just spoke on 15th August 2017 about stress with a smile on my face. Jai Hind.
Though you mentioned a couple of times, that you had your doubts on being qualified to speak on this, I think you speaking on this. So, from our perspective, the objective of this panel was to get a communication to the public about the need to come out and express on the 70th Freedom Day. We are requesting through this forum, through this panel, through the celebrities, which the people believe in, and through the doctors who have got the authority on the subject, to say that come out and express yourself, talk to each other. That's what the Dr. Avinash is emphasized on. So there is nothing, there's no rocket science in terms of addressing the depression or the mental state of it. It is about expressing yourself to somebody, and from there, if you are qualified to analyze and understand that there is a need for cure, then advise them to go and meet a doctor who can give them a professional service. And it is not something which is a really taboo. It is something which is natural, and you need to address it. And you will not label as somebody who is an outcast of the society. That is the objective which we are trying to achieve. And all of them, we were so happy for them being so honest about it, and so upright about their personal experiences. And doctors also being very honest about how they have to treat this kind of things. So I remain thankful to the media as well as Shubham and Adhana for coordinating the entire things. And we will take the question and answers if there is anything from the media to the panelists. Thank you.
You can ask questions.
They want to do media bites.
Okay, that's fine. Media bites. Any other questions?
Anybody has a question? Yes. Mike.
Hi everyone. I run a startup for women. So it's been 3 years, and so my query to you is, we get a lot of emails from women achievers. My job is to interview prominent women achievers. So we get a lot of queries from working women in metro cities. And surprisingly, a lot of them seem to be undergoing depression and anxiety. So my query to all of you is that, do depression and anxiety, do they come in the same breath? I mean, and also I've received this query a lot, that we're having this medication and all of that, but will I ever get off it, or so it's a very prominent query. So just for my platform, so I can write about it.
Yeah, okay. So let me talk about, like you was talking about the myths of psychological disorders. One of the biggest myths is that of medication. Now let's look at it in a couple of perspectives. To begin with, every person is not going to need medication. If a person does need medication, every person doesn't need to take medication for the rest of his life, which everybody is so frightened about. But on the other hand, if you're looking at it from a different perspective, if you had diabetes for which you needed insulin for the rest of your life, you're not going to get very freaked out about it. If you had high blood pressure and you're taking an antihypertensive for the rest of your life, you'd probably be very careful about it and take it. If you had hypercholesterolemia and you had a high blood cholesterol, you take some statin for the rest of your life and you wouldn't get freaked out about it. If you had a thyroid issue and you have suggested that you were taking something to supplement the low thyroid functioning in your body, you wouldn't bother about it. But the Lord forbid, if you were depressed and you were maintained fantastically with one small tablet, you wouldn't want to take it for the rest of your life because it deals with mental health. So my thing is, you're not going to be on medication for the rest of your life by and large. But if you were, why the hell are we freaking out about it? Because it affects your mind? So does everything. The thyroid works through your brain. Antihypertensives by and large work through your brain, but nobody freaks out about it. But since it's dealing with depression, it is taboo. It is better that I'm down, that I don't have a good quality of life, that I'm occasionally suicidal, that I occasionally cut myself, that I frown and I cry, but I will not take that one tablet. So I think in acceptance, we also have to accept that it's okay to take medication. It doesn't make us less of a person. Taking that into account, by and large, the rule of thumb is a drug-naive person, that is a person who's never taken medication before, would normally have to take the first episode medication for a period of about a year. After that, a year of stability. After that, we try to reduce, and I'd say about 60 to 70% of most cases don't seem to need it again. 30% might. That's point number one. Point number two, let's not take everything for granted. Let's also not take it that just because you're down, you're depressed, because you're anxious, you're having a little bit of anxiety, you come under that spectrum of anxiety. What you spoke about depression and anxiety is extremely relevant. There is a large comorbid factor, which means two things can coexist. They don't necessarily, it is not necessarily that one leads to another. It's not necessarily that depression leads to anxiety or anxiety leads to depression. They are absolutely separate entities in themselves with separate signs and symptoms and separate treatments. The bottom line is, I'd say about 50 to 60% people are comorbid with each other. There also seems to be maybe a slightly increased tendency in the female sex. So since you're starting a startup and you're so racially divisive, you don't have men in it, it's not surprising that you're getting such a large concentration of women who have this.
We just feel more things. It's true.
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I don't think so.
This is why I was hesitant to be on
I don't think a man feels less.
I meant in the spectrum of things. In my limited experience, I feel that women tend to be even more overthinkers than men, and women I think do it a little more vocally than men.
Well, I certainly believe women are more vocal.
I won 1 point. 1 point to Team Daz.
So that's always a gap between anxiety and depression because people always get confused.
There's another little anecdote which I must share. This thing about not taking people for granted. A long time ago, I was going up to Pune in a car, and when I reached almost the top of the ghats, I found I had a puncture. And I checked, and my stepney wasn't there. For some odd reason, somebody had taken it off. I didn't particularly my stepney was there. I took it out, and while I was moving the nuts of the punctured tire, for some odd reason, all 4 nuts fell off and they rolled down the cliff. Now, I was kind of stuck. I didn't know what else to do, and I was looking around, wondering what to do, and suddenly I heard a lot of shouting in the nearby corner, and I looked up, and lo and behold, I had actually parked just outside the Pune asylum. And there was this guy screaming, hey, hey, hey. So, first I tried to ignore him, but he was very, very vociferous. So he was screaming, and I looked at him and I said, what? He said, I saw those nuts rolling down. Let's not take anything for granted. So our perspective when we look at people who might be depressed or anxious, sometimes we talk to them very loudly because we think they're deaf.
Sometimes we talk to them like, "Aap samajh sakte ho," like we think they're retarded. They're not. They're normal people who have a disorder. And I think we need to look at it in that perspective.
Thank you, Dr. Christopher, for the briefing. And with this, we conclude the press meet. And the biggest message which you've got is that the celebrities here, as well as doctors, have endorsed that there is a need for people to express themselves. And they should have the courage to have the freedom to express. So when you carry out all the uses in the world, we are requesting on this 70th day of freedom, let's pass this message to the general public. DOCPLUS, that we are putting the freedom to express the minds, so that we have a healthy India, we have a very free India coming across, so that we can become the superpower. And now to conclude, I call upon ASPI Engineer, the CEO of Moshe's Cafe, to thank the guest of honors for being here, for taking time out from their life and being here for this day. Thank you. Thanks a lot. ASPI, over to you.
One group photo?
Yeah, we will do that. After this?
Yeah. Hello. Excuse me. क्या हुआ? Sorry. Stay. Chill नहीं है, stay. One group photo, come close. Group photo. Don't.